Now at 5, surveillance video giving us a new view of the midair collision in Washington, D.C. And later this hour, we expect the National Transportation Safety Board to speak.
The deadly collision in D.C. has raised concerns about the current air traffic controller shortage. I'm WESH 2's Pamela Combe in Daytona Beach with more on a new partnership at Embry-Riddle, hoping to address just that.
And life in prison for a man convicted of killing a veteran. WESH 2 was in the courtroom and has a live report after Sean Engram learned his fate.
Plus, the immigration overhaul. We hear from local Congress members about the plan to keep Florida in line with the Trump administration's policies.
WESH 2 News starts right now.
First at 5, this is a live look tonight at the Potomac River where a passenger plane and a helicopter collided just 2 days ago. In about 30 minutes, we expect an update from investigators with the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB. Once that happens, we'll bring it to you live.
Our team coverage of the midair tragedy continues tonight with Pamela Combe and Justin Shecker looking into the stress on air traffic controllers and the reaction from the local figure skating community. But first, we do want to start with WESH 2's Summer Knowles live in the studio.
Summer, we should get an update from investigators soon on the latest on the investigation.
Soon indeed. The National Transportation Safety Board, which is taking the lead in this case, is expected to give an update around 5:30. When that begins, we of course will bring it to you live. But first, what's happened within the last day after this deadly crash between a U.S. Army helicopter and an American Airlines flight? The Federal Aviation Administration is taking no chances of something like this happening again. The agency has closed the low-altitude helicopter corridor near Reagan National Airport, meaning no more helicopters can fly in that area. Some aviation industry experts and former pilots are now focusing in on the Army Black Hawk, which might have been flying higher than it should have been and possibly outside of its approved path.
I've flown this route too many times to count. You stair step down your altitude and you keep that 200 feet plus or minus, 10, 20 feet.
It's possible with all the reflections of the light being over the water that they crept up.
Now, the change of runway for the American Airlines jet could also be a factor. Last night, officials found both black boxes for the plane and helicopter. The preliminary NTSB report could come in 30 days, but the final findings may take up to a year. Stick with WESH 2 News, because once the NTSB gives its next update in about 30 minutes from now, we will bring it to you live. Guys, back to you.
All right, Summer, thank you.
And our team coverage continues now with the stress of air traffic controllers that they're under. WESH 2's Pamela Combe is joining us live from the airport in Daytona Beach tonight.
And Pam, you talked with an expert from Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University who says an air traffic controller shortage is not to blame for that crash in Washington.
Yeah, and I do want to say NTSB is still investigating the cause of the collision, but this Embry-Riddle expert does not believe the current nationwide staffing shortage had anything to do with this or played any part in this. But he does say that the staffing shortage is a big issue, so he told us more about a partnership between Embry-Riddle and FAA to get more people in the towers. And Dr. McCormick blames the staffing shortages at these towers on the pandemic and current budget issues. He also says a lot of these workers are required to retire at the age of 55, which doesn't help at all. Covering Volusia County live in Daytona Beach, Pamela Combe, WESH 2 News.
Pam, thank you. We now know both young men in the cockpit of that American Airlines flight learned how to fly right here in Central Florida. Jonathan Campos was the captain, Sam Lilly was co-pilot, and today we're learning more about Lilly's training. Lilly went to school at ATP Flight School in Daytona Beach. His dad tells WESH 2 the family is devastated. He says Lilly got a degree in marketing but realized he wasn't meant to sit behind a desk, so he moved to Volusia County in 2019 where he would learn how to fly planes. He was doing great in his career and personal life, they say. He was engaged, soon to be married, and is now deeply missed by his friends.
He was a great guy, and that's how we like to think of him, as not this tragedy, but just the light in the world that he was.
Captain Jonathan Campos was the other pilot on that flight, also with ties to Volusia County. He graduated from Embry-Riddle and lived in Ormond Beach.
And the U.S. figure skating community lost 14 of its members on board the plane that crashed before it could land in Washington, D.C. We've learned 2 young local ice skaters were actually in Wichita taking part in the elite training camp where those skaters who died were coming from. WESH 2's Justin Shecker is continuing our team coverage tonight. And Justin, you're live outside the Orlando Ice Den in Maitland. Tell us who you spoke to.
Well, Michelle, the U.S. ice skating community is hurting. Its members are obviously heartbroken over the loss of these promising young skaters, their parents and coaches, but the skating director here is still trying to find hope after this tragedy. And I want you to take a look at this tiny yellow duck. Chapman tells me her son, Timmy, after competing in the national championships, placed one of these lucky ducks in the skating bags of those rising young skaters, stars who sadly were killed in the plane crash. Covering Orange County live in Maitland, I'm Justin Shecker, WESH 2 News.
Okay, Justin, thank you. And stay with WESH 2 for continuing coverage on the midair tragedy. Ahead at 5:30, our National Investigative Unit is taking a look at how many near-miss situations have been recorded at DCA.
All right, switching our focus to our forecast, because we had winter was feeling strong a couple weeks ago and now feeling more like spring.
Yeah, it was beautiful out there today. Let's see if it will continue into the weekend. Here is First Warning Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi. Hey, Tony.
I tell you what, it is going to continue into the weekend. Although I think tomorrow will be a little bit cooler. Sunday will jump back up as the front does work in. But boy, low 80s today in many communities. Take you live outside right now where they're switching up the camera right in front of your eyes. Great looking shot. There's been a little bit of haze, couple brush fires out there. Controlled burns. We'll show those to you in the big weather hit. But if you're making plans for this Friday night, maybe heading over to the Zora Festival or any of the activities going on here in Central Florida, you're going to be in good shape. There's a front off to the north and west. There may be a little bit of fog down to the south, but showers will likely be arriving up north towards daybreak here as we get you up in the Marion County. There's the fog developing. It'll settle more towards the south and east as we get deeper into the overnight tonight as showers approach up north. But if you're running errands tonight or hanging out with some loved ones, catching a quick dinner or a movie, you're going to be in great shape. More on that weekend forecast straight ahead.
All right, Tony, thank you. We've got some breaking news. A man found guilty in the murder of a young Army veteran in downtown Orlando will spend the rest of his life in prison.
A judge sentenced Sean Ingram today for shooting and killing Joseph Torres in 2021. The victim was a father of 3. WESH 2's Tonight Gebrigadigas is live from the Orange County Courthouse tonight. And tonight you heard some emotional testimony from both families.
Yeah, they talked about how Sean Ingram and Joseph Torres both served in the military. And the victim's brother even said that if the two had gotten to know each other, they could have become friends. Instead, Torres was killed after he tried passing Ingram on a crowded sidewalk in downtown Orlando on a busy night. We also heard from Ingram, who apologized to the family but didn't really show much remorse. Instead, he argued this is a stand your ground case, which the judge responded to by saying the jury has already determined beyond reasonable doubt that this was not self-defense. Covering Orange County, live in Orlando, Sanaga Brigadigas, WESH 2 News.
In Volusia County, a 32-year-old man has been charged with raping a 13-year-old girl. DeLand police say the victim was a runaway found in Chest Park on Wednesday. She told officers that Carlos Ortiz attacked her. Ortiz is charged with sexual battery. He is being held without bond. The teen is now in state custody. Coming up next, it's been 1 year since a deadly shooting that killed a priest in Palm Bay.
WESH 2 dug through new court documents that reveal what abuse may have led to the crime.
And one last walk through the Seminole Town Center before many shops at the once popular mall close for good.
Closed captioning brought to you by National Floors Direct.
Sexual abuse may have led to a shooting that killed a priest in Brevard County. 2 Palm Bay police officers were also hurt.
WESH 2 Brevard County reporter Megan Moriarty has a look at new court documents which include evidence in the investigation. We also asked the Palm Bay Police Department for an interview on the recent report, but they declined at this time.
In Flagler County, a 13-year-old student was arrested after deputies say the boy brought a BB gun to Buddy Taylor Middle School. This is a picture of the BB gun. Deputies say it happened on Wednesday, and the gun had its orange tip removed to make it look more realistic. Deputies say the boy told them he brought the gun to school because he was being bullied. Parents can start thinking ahead to summer break now and enrolling their kids in summer camp at the Dr. Phillips Center. The Performing Arts Center says it has several offerings this year, including several musical theater programs, an improv intensive, and much more. All the programs are now open for enrollment. We will post a link with more details on our website, wesh.com.
Bringing in First Warning Chief Meteorologist Tony Manalfi, because Tony, it's going to feel kind of like spring.
Have you been? I mean, today was gorgeous.
Yeah,
it was tough coming into work. I'm not going to lie to you.
It was.
A few degrees cooler tomorrow, but I think we're going to go right back up. Hey, let's begin with that 7-day outlook. Jess, as you know, is what we like to do. We can see if, right back there, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Of course, Sunday is Groundhog Day, which marks a very important anniversary, severe weather-wise. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. But once we get past the weekend, which will not be filled with any active storms, we get into a very warm stretch. We talked about that last night. There's that tornado outbreak here. Groundhog Day 2007. We had 21 fatalities and multiple tornadoes that were long-lived. It's second to the 1998 El Nino outbreak there, where there were 42 fatalities. Those two really stand out in our history here of those deadly tornado outbreaks. Now, the folklore behind Groundhog Day, if he sees his shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see his shadow, i.e. cloudy, winter is over. So we'll have to wait and see. There will be clouds around. Let's take a look now at the Tower Cam network here. Look at these temperatures. Not bad at all. Even at the beaches where my wife was hanging out today and sending me a few pictures and rubbing it on in. It was great. She said the water was chilly. She had to feel it, and she got right out as they were in the 50s. There's a front now off to the north and the west. That will be arriving very early tomorrow morning, and that's great news. Although I wish it was a lot more, because we have a couple of controlled burns with some smoke in and around central Florida. So if you're smelling it, you can see those are the bigger ones on the radar, but there are a lot of active fires in our area today. In fact, there are 15 of them, and the Keach-Bryan Drought Index is low to moderate. If we don't get any rain here over the next week, which is going to be dry next week, I think you'll see the moderate sneak back up here into central Florida. So futurecast for this evening will play out like this. You can see some clouds rolling in across our northern communities, and then you'll see the moisture arriving probably towards 2, 3, 4 o'clock up there in Marion County. We've got them painted in the metro areas right around 5 to 7. And speaking of the metro areas, so mild morning for tomorrow. Low 60s should about do it, and even the upper 50s to the north as that rain will be moving on in. Front kind of stalls out, and there will be a lot of clouds around. There could even be a few sprinkles on Sunday, but overall, there's not a lot of rain in the forecast. Rainfall chances 20 and 10% respectively. Temperature will jump back up into the upper 70s by Sunday. So tomorrow is the cooler outdoor day. So if you need to cut the lawn, do it tomorrow. Not Sunday, when it might be a little bit warmer. You can see area-wide 70 to 75 degrees. 12-hour forecast now for Palm Coast. Only in the upper 60s over your way there tomorrow. You'll have more sun than folks down to the south, as the front will have cleared earlier. And then for the tournament tomorrow in Lake Nona, few showers at worst, and then on Sunday, clouds and mild. They're coming in at about 79. The Zora Festival, same forecast, 73, 79, a couple of isolated showers. And then the rainfall comparison here real quick. Not seeing a whole lot here. That's the point we want to make, less than 1/10 of an inch of rain. So putting it all together for you one more time. A little bit cooler over the weekend, but the 80s sticking around through Friday. Late next weekend, though, there could be some changes. I'll highlight that for you in the next half hour.
Say goodbye to the Seminole Town Center, as most of the mall officially closes today. WESH 2 took a final tour of the mostly empty shopping center. The mall will be sold in the coming weeks, and all but the anchor stores will be demolished. Faisal Amin broke down what's left of his jewelry and watch repair shop.
A lot of malls is doing good, except here, because it's just run down.
Are you sad? Where are you going to go?
I'm going to Lakeland Square Mall.
The redevelopment plan for Seminole Town Center will add new shops, possibly a Costco, entertainment, and apartments.
A consumer alert for Apple Watch users. You could be entitled to money as part of a class action lawsuit settlement. The lawsuit claimed that the first generation Series 1, 2, and 3 watches experienced issues because of battery swelling. You might qualify for compensation if you had one of those models and reported issues related to battery swelling between April 24th of 2015 and February 6th of 2024. Apple has agreed to a $20 million settlement while denying allegations of wrongdoing. Apple Watch owners looking for a payout should submit their claim by April 10th.
More news coming up at 5:30. We're standing by as the NTSB is about to give an update on the plane crash in Washington, D.C.
And the bear found hiding out beneath a home after fires in Southern California. It wouldn't budge from the crawl space. What wildlife officials had to do to lure the bear out.
And the immigration overhaul. WESH 2 asked Congress members what they think of Governor DeSantis' plan for Florida.
In Central Florida, the weather is always changing.
That's why we work around the clock, so you know exactly what to plan for.
From tracking the next big storm to how to dress the kids for school.
That's why at WESH 2, we keep you at the center of what we do.
Constantly monitoring the latest data so you can be prepared for what's next.
No guessing, just an easy, understandable forecast, sun up to sundown.
This is WESH 2 First Warning Weather, certified Central Florida's most accurate. WESH 2 News continues.
Now at 5:30, a local congressman says we don't need mass deportation, we need immigration reform. Democrat Darren Soto spoke this morning at his office in Osceola County.
WESH 2's Luana Munoz was there and is joining us live now in Kissimmee. Luana, several local leaders spoke passionately about this issue.
Oh, absolutely, Michelle. And today we heard Democratic leaders saying that in the past, Republicans used to work with them on immigration reform, but they say ever since President Trump was elected, those types of talks have been abandoned. And today we heard both Republicans and Democrats urging the public to reach out to their legislative leaders because ultimately they have to still answer to their constituents. Covering Osceola County tonight, live from the Kissimmee Bureau, I'm Luana Munoz, WESH 2 News.
And the White House has confirmed new tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico will start tomorrow. Trump slap a 25% tax on goods from both countries. Mexico is one of the biggest trade partners of the U.S., and we are heavily reliant on agricultural products from Mexico like avocados, sugar, flour, and vegetables.
Right now, we are waiting for the National Transportation Safety Board to give us an update on that deadly midair collision in Washington. And once that happens, we will bring it to you live.
Any minute now. Meanwhile, newly released video gives us a closer look at the moment a U.S. Army helicopter hit the passenger plane. Nearby security cameras recorded the moment of collision right there. We're pausing it just right there before the plane and the helicopter fall into the Potomac River. Our team coverage continues tonight with WESH 2's Christopher Salas in Washington, where 41 out of the 67 people have been recovered.
Pilots say flying into Reagan National Airport has its unique challenges. Aaron Murphy is a commercial pilot and flight instructor based in Ontario, Canada. He says flying at night makes it even more difficult.
The D.C. airport, the Reagan National, is just so busy, and the airspace is a little bit compressed because of all the restricted airspace with the government buildings surrounding. The density of the traffic. You need specific training and you need specific guidance when it's your first couple of times into this airport. And that's true of all the major airlines. They will receive that additional extra training for this airport in particular.
Murphy says the #1 threat for commercial airlines flying into Reagan is the helicopter routes flying beneath the aircrafts in a routine way. The FAA is now restricting helicopter flights near Reagan Airport.
Now, this crash of the passenger plane and the helicopter in D.C. Wednesday night shows the tragic reality of the close calls we've heard about at airports around the country. The warning signs of potential danger have been there for years. National investigative correspondent John Cardinale has been looking into the incidents near Reagan National Airport. All right, we want to bring you to that NTSB's press conference happening right now in Washington, D.C. Let's listen in.
Families of the victims.
Okay, you've been listening live to the National Transportation Safety Board as they give an update on the investigation into the deadly air collision that happened in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday. Obviously, there's a lot of things happening all at once with this investigation, a lot of moving pieces and a lot of agencies involved. I think some of the main takeaways is that it's a delicate operation. Salvage will start this weekend. They have barges coming in, cranes coming in to start removing the 2 aircraft that are still in the Potomac River, but they also need to be sensitive and aware of the victims who are still in the river. river as well.
Absolutely. One of the major headlines we learned there, they found the black box of the helicopter. WESH 2 is staying on top of this story as the National Transportation Safety Board begins its investigation into what caused the crash. Stick with WESH 2 on the air online at WESH.com and on our free WESH 2 News app.
WESH 2 News at 6 is straight ahead.
Stuart Moore here with what's coming up in the next half hour, Stu.
Guys, you have little ones in your family and hope to send them off to university in a few years. Now is the time to prepare. That's the message from the folks over at Florida Prepaid. We'll lay out the details on how you can sign up. Next at 6.
Helping the homeless get off the streets. How the Winter Park Police Department plans to use a federally funded program to connect homeless individuals with nonprofits like the Salvation Army.
Kellyanne Class on WESH 2 News.